You're going crazy.
Can we talk about me and you?
Era.
Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we
Truman to call in the peace in war times. This is Vena Tar Nupu, Black Love, Justice, Power, and I want to do this as a part 2 to the video I did, which is Hotep Hustlers part 5. And I know a lot of people have seen this information in the past, and a lot of you probably have not. And again, like I said, we have a lot of so-called pro-black or so-called checks and balances on YouTube that they don't, put out correct information when it comes to these fakers, these Decepticons, in a respectful way. Once again, we can look at different platforms that have been so-called recognized for doing so much work on YouTube, but as far as, like, let's say putting out information, I just use Sonnet as an example, and there's other ones that's been out there as well that all these strong points will be like in debates and other cases, but when it come to like keeping up a nice healthy reminder to the online people of what people are doing, you don't have to like drag people through the mud. I'm not saying that, but it should have been, and that just comes to territory, because when you putting out information, you pretty much kind of like the news and journalists in your own right. And so when I'm saying these things, I'm coming forth understanding that that's my part that I'm adding on. And so when you got bigger platforms, when these people come across and you see that they're doing questionable things, and you don't warn the people respectfully and continue to warn the people, these things go, they come out and they just sink back into the quicksand. And so again, I seen a lot of foolishness concerning this guy here, years ago. And again, I'm here because Soundwide Reason has directed me into this direction because of Mr. Billy Carson. Y'all need to thank him, Mr. Keys and Mr. RIZZA Islam. You need to thank him for his foolishness. And again, all of y'all doing the same thing. Y'all sitting here being used by the negative forces of nature to lie and trick and prop yourselves up like y'all saviors in this, and you're not, because the time of the savior has passed. In February 5th, 1962, anything done on a savior tip will fail ultimately, and even quicker. And right now, this is just a reminder. Okay, I'm only bringing up the information because it's relevant into what I'm doing. So once again, I want to give a special shout out, and I'm taking my hats off to young Pharaoh when he was in his right mind. All right, you won't catch me disrespecting the brother, because at this point in his life journey, he is suffering from the wrongs that he has committed against himself, against his children's mother, against all of the people who believed in him and gave him so much money that he did not do the right thing with it. So what we're watching is him being pretty much spanked in front of the people by his ancestors and by Saturn, the planet of justice and karma. She's a sun. And this is what we're watching. So I'm just wanted to still give credit where credit is due. All right, young Pharaoh put it out there on more than one occasion, and I'm just gonna bring it back so y'all can equal stand what you're looking at. And when you hear me come around and make these videos, just equal stand. I'm not doing this to be just for doing it, because I could be like that. I'm not that type of person. If y'all watch my YouTubes, everything I do follows a certain pattern. I'm not out here looking up old people who came out and pulling up dirt and all that. That's not what I'm doing. But in this case, these guys are the new versions and the younger version of the corrupt teachers that we done had that been running rampant in the community. And the Nation of Islam has produced and still are producing plenty of these individuals. All right. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing my part. All right. So for those who didn't know, you're about to find out. All right. Mr. RIZZA indeed has a criminal background, and the information is out and about where you can find it. And I'm gonna leave the sources in the video, so then you have to ask yourselves, why is this guy still running around in the community pretending he's helping, but his nature and his intentions are foul? All right, so I'm gonna put the information out there, and then we're gonna come back after that. Truman the Carbon of Peace in wartime.
Members of a South LA family with ties to Scientology and the Nation of Islam will stand trial in a case the prosecutors say ripped off California taxpayers to the tune of $3.8 million. Today, a judge determined there is enough evidence against the mother, Hanan Islam, and two of her adult daughters and a son. They are accused of running a scheme to defraud Medi-Cal by recruiting local high school students for drug counseling that the students did not want or need at a Scientology Narconon clinic in Compton. A prosecutor says the family members hired so-called ghostwriters to manufacture records that were used to fraudulently bill the state millions of dollars. All defendants have pleaded not guilty.
You're going crazy.
All right, peace family. I'm on the line with Brother RIZZA Islam right now. He's in good spirits, and recording this so he can give you all a message. I know many of you all have been wondering about him, hitting my DM about him, so I'm about to let the brother speak, and he's going to give you guys, some words. So go ahead, Brother RIZZA.
Thank you, my brother. Assalamu alaikum, family. Brother RIZZA Islam here. I am in very good spirits. I've heard that many of you were asking about your brother, and I truly thank Allah for all of you and your support and your love and everything that you have been doing for me. I'm in Supermax jail in Wayside, which is in Valencia, and the moment I stepped in here, from the guards to the inmates, I received a lot of love. They knew who I was, not simply from social media, but they knew my family and the work we were doing in the community since 1992. So a lot of the hoods that I'm in here with, which are a lot of Bloods, Crips, a lot of Mexican hoods, a lot of them knew my family for helping their family members to get off drugs, to teach them how to read and write, to help to get them off of probation, etc. A lot of work that we've been doing. So Allah has blessed us to accumulate so much work in the community to where we are now reaping the benefits, where the people are speaking up for us even from within the jail. So all I've been doing is I've been praying studying, working out and exercising, and eating the best that I can, because it's terrible. Yeah, the water is horrific, the food is terrible, but we're getting through. So again, I thank everyone for your love, for your support, and this is what happens, even to the best of us. When you're doing the best you can, the enemy will find a way to attack or come at you, especially when you are doing good deeds to resurrect the people. And to answer everyone's question, I'm in jail, not for any of the reasons that you have heard on the news or in the social media, but because of contempt of court, where the judge tried to lie and say something on record that would have affected my life later on and my family's life later on, and I had to correct him respectfully with 2 laws that he did not like. And because of that, me speaking out of turn, is what he said, he gave me contempt of court, and that is why I'm in here. So my family has been fighting for 4 years to prove that we have helped tens of thousands of people, and the government is saying we have helped no one, and that we basically defrauded the government, which is not true. So, your brother's here. I'm feeling very strong. I appreciate you all again.
This call is being recorded.
Truly, thank Allah for each and every one of you. I love you. And inshallah, God willing, I'll be out very soon. And we will show the world that we have helped many people, and we will continue to help as many people as possible.
Yes, sir. Well, there it is, family. That's Brother RIZZA. So, as he said, inshallah, I will be out shortly. And thank you all for y'all support. Peace out.
Peace. Now we're back. So now we just seen the actual situation where it made the news, and then I played the video after that where he's talking from jail with Brother Ben X, I think that's his name. And so now let's look into the actual background so you can see it for yourselves, and I'll make sure I link everything under the video. All right, so let's see what took place. All right, because for those of us who watched the debate, when they went into it, a lot of stuff was a lot. So we're gonna just condense this. This is from the Scientology Money Project, a dedicated news site investigating Scientology money, crime, lies, and legal matters. Friday, April 7th, 2023. People of the state of California versus RIZZA Islam, ETAL, by Jeffrey Augustine on October the 8th, 2019. All right. The links below are the summary of the court reportings I did during the preliminary criminal trial of RIZZA Islam and his co-defendants in the Los Angeles downtown criminal court case number BA 435374. The felony charges against Ronnie Stevens RIZZA Islam and his co-defendants centered around a $3.8 million medical insurance fraud committed during the operation of the now defunct Scientology licensed World Literacy Crusade and American Health and Education Clinic located in Compton, California. Again, what young Pharaoh said was right. This is on the internet. All right. Thanks to Tony Ortega for covering my reporting in real time, along with his added news and commentary at the underground bunker. The bunker commenting community added many outstanding and insightful comments. Special thanks to Lisa Bartley of ABC 7 Los Angeles Eyewitness News for providing video coverage along with the sketches by ABC sketch artist Mona S. Edwards. The story has now become a part of the decades-long story of Scientology and criminality. The Sovereign Citizens Defense order by RIZZA and his mother Hannah Islam, rest in peace, because I found out that his mother passed, I think, last year. So I'm gonna be very respectful doing this particular presentation. I'm not gonna say anything negative toward the queen. All right, she's passed on. It happened, and we're gonna move forward. All right. The sovereign citizen defense ordered by RIZZA and his mother Hannah Islam at the preliminary trial failed badly and served them both a hard lesson that legal factions do not work in the real world. Again, this stuff here is when you go into sovereign citizens, anybody know about that information, that stuff was created by a Caucasian and using the uniform commercial code and all this stuff dealing with trying to copyright your name and all this other stuff like that. Again, that stuff, the man who created that stuff, that dude is still in jail behind all of that stuff. All right, so why is Mr. RIZZA using sovereign citizen stuff? Because y'all got to understand, they keep saying disparaging things about Caucasian people. A lot of it is true, but then when it come down to how a lot of them move in the NOI, they're still trying to utilize this. See what I'm saying? This is not in the Nation of Islam doctrine. This stuff came way after. Even those who try to mix the Moorish paperwork into stuff that came way after Noble Drew Ali was gone. These things is what makes it criminal, because what they're doing had nothing to do. Why are you trying to use sovereignty or anything if you was doing criminal stuff that gets you pulled in? You see what I'm saying? This is criminal. This is what people do when they try to be slick. The same way you had a lot of Moors or people who studied Moorish information go and squat in people's houses and then try to use paperwork and all this other stuff. It's just the mixing and the matching. And when people do this type of thing, it proves that whatever you into is not enough to defend you against wrongdoing. All right, because this is about right and wrong right here. Same thing with Dr. York. When he got in trouble, he wanted to try to pull in his Native American stuff. His paperwork was not finished. He didn't have all of the information. They didn't get their numbers. They was using, I think, the Washington numbers for a second, but they still never completed their paperwork, so they never became recognized by the government as indigenous and Native Americans. You understand? And when York got in trouble, he did the same thing, talking about sovereignty and all this old stuff. But again, you wouldn't have needed that if you wasn't doing wrongdoing. You try to bring other things in to scapegoat and protect you when what got you in the courtroom didn't have nothing to do with that. All right. So the sovereign citizen defense. Okay, we went past that. Both RIZZA and his mother, rest in peace, was sentenced to 5 days in jail and fined $1,000 for contempt of court due to their flagrant disrespect towards the court and asserting their nonsensical sovereign citizen arguments. The defendants will be arraigned on October the 22nd, and I will be there to report on it.
You're going crazy.
All right, so these are different things that dealt with the case. I'm going to click on one in a minute, but we're going to go down further first. Update: RIZZA Islam spoke in a video from jail. In this video, RIZZA stated that he was being held in jail for contempt of court. This is not entirely accurate. While RIZZA and his mother, rest in peace, were each sentenced to 5 days in jail for contempt of court on October the 2nd, 2019, they completed their sentence for contempt of court on October the 6th. Therefore, RIZZA and his mother, rest in peace, were held in jail on bail based upon the charges for which they were bound over for trial. RIZZA spun his jail time as being for contempt only. He did not forthrightly speak to the underlying criminal charge of which he was being held. RIZZA has never directly addressed these charges in social media. Facts. Here's what actually happened. On the final day of the preliminary criminal trial, Judge Pastor ruled that the state had met its burden of proof, and he ruled that all the defendants were to be bound over for trial on all charges. The judge next raised the question of bail. All defendants have been free on their own reconnaissance since they were charged in October 2015. So they already was been out on bond or whatever for about 4 years. And this is, again, next thing you know, the dude pops up online, and right before Nipsey passed, and from that point, he used to just start seeing him pop around these places, still going around as if what they did just went away. No public apologies, none of this crap. This is what we keep telling y'all. All right. Judge Pastor cited the dramatically changed circumstances the judge next raised the question of bail. All defendants had been free on their own reconnaissance since they were charged in October 2015. The judge allowed Nema Islam and Zakiya Islam to remain free on their own reconnaissance, as they have always appeared as ordered and have no prior convictions. Judge Pastor cited the dramatically changed circumstances based upon the evidence presented at the preliminary criminal trial as it concerned Hannah, rest in peace, Islam, and RIZZA Islam. Judge Pastor turns attention to Hannah Islam, rest in peace, and said the evidence showed she had engaged in an extremely aggravated fraud scheme that involved educators and innocent high school students. Judge Pastor further stated that Hannah, rest in peace, had played games with the court and engaged in nonsense. Here, he was clearly referring to Hannah's, rest in peace, time wasting in contemptuous sovereign citizen defense that had gotten her 5 days in jail and $1,000 fine. He further characterized her action as sophisticated fraud in which she was ripping off the taxpayers. Accordingly, he set her bail at $250,000 and revoked her release on her own reconnaissance. There's an additional $5,000 bail hold on Hannah, rest in peace, and her sole total bail is $250,000. Judge Pastor set RIZZA Islam's bail at $100,000 and revoked his release on his own reconnaissance once RIZZA was booked into Los Angeles County Jail. An old warrant from when he was a minor was discovered. The bail on that warrant is $31,000, and this brings RIZZA's bail to $131,000. RIZZA can present his case at arraignment and ask for bail reduction or to be released on his own reconnaissance. So can his mother, Hannah, rest in peace. Below are the screenshots from the Los Angeles Sheriff Inmate Locator site. Readers can verify this information for themselves. RIZZA Islam bail set for $131,000. All right, so now we're gonna go down here and let's look at this a little bit. Let's look at this information. All right, because the dude was not framed. This is not a trumped up charge and all this crap. This dude is not a hero. He's a criminal and a scammer. And this is what happens when they do this thing. Booking number 5761573, last name Islam, first name Ronnie, middle name S, sex male, race black, date of birth 3/17/1990. All right, age 29, hair black, eyes brown, height 6'06", weight 190. Charge level F for a felony. Arrested date 10/01/2019. All right, let's go down. Total bail amount $131,000. Total whole bail amount $0. Grand total $131. He was held permanent housing assigned date on the 4th 10/04/2019. Okay. Right there. Permanent housing assigned, at 219 Facility North County Correctional Facility, address 29340 The Old Road, City, Castaic. Facility visiting information. All right, let me get out of this. Together. Did it go back in there? I'm trying to go back in there. See, next court code $100. Next court date 10/22/2009. All right, court name LA Superior Court Department 100. Court address 210 West Temple Street. Court City, Los Angeles. All right, so we just read the documentation that puts him being arrested in 2019. They was free for about 4 years. So this thing was going on for years. I don't know if he was in the Nation of Islam at this point. Maybe it was, but the whole point was he was making moves and scamming criminal behavior with Scientology. And the reason why the Nation of Islam, he's even affiliated with that, because Farrakhan brokered a deal with Scientology after Elijah Muhammad and they doctrine teach against the Caucasian. He over there making deals with Scientology and having Nation of Islam members going in there to get audited, and it's money being funneled to Farrakhan for him bringing them black people that was told, according to them, that the Caucasian is the devil. But it still don't make no sense, because the God of the Nation of Islam is white. So once again, you see the mental illness here in the spell of religion. All right. So what we're going to do is look at this one I found interesting. All right. Scientologists led away in handcuffs after stunning evidence of fraud heard. So they referring to him as a Scientologist. All right. This is another picture of his beautiful mother. May she rest in peace. All right. At the conclusion of the first day in the preliminary hearing yesterday afternoon at Los Angeles Superior Court, Scientologists, see, they referring to her as a Scientologist, rest in power, 60 years old at the time, and her son, Ronnie RIZZA Islam, 29, were led away in handcuffs to spend the night in jail. Their hearing will continue this afternoon with more testimony from state investigations that Islam's ran a Scientology narcon rehab in Compton using unwitting high school students supplied by corrupt educators to defraud the state medical insurance program of about $3 million. The underground bunker was fortunate to have correspondent Jeffrey Augustine on the scene for the dramatic day in court yesterday, when Hannah, rest in power, and RIZZA continued their sovereign citizen arguments and attempted to serve papers on the court, firing Judge Michael Pastor from the case. When she refused to stop talking over the judge, Hannah, rest in power, was taken into custody in the courtroom and charged with contempt of court. Later, RIZZA was also arrested and charged with contempt. But Augustine tells us that beyond the bizarre action by the Islams, the arrest, and other attempts to delay matters, the real story to come out yesterday hearing was the devastating evidence spelled out by the state in its attempt to convince Judge Pastor that Hannon, rest in peace, and RIZZA, as well as Hannon's daughter, Zakiya, 37 at the time, and the Matt, 43, and another defendant, Bayan Beverly Washington, 46, should stand trial for their alleged crimes. Almost 4 years ago, we broke the story here at the underground bunker at this strange criminal case which grew out of notorious Scientology front operations. The World Literacy Crusade, operated by Hannah's, rest in power, partner at the time, prominent African American Scientologist Alfred Johnson. They had opened the rehab, America's Health and Education Clinics, AHEC, at the WLC facility, and the Islams allegedly operates the scam from 2010 to 2013. After Hannah's 2015's arrest, rest in power, AHEC and WLC shut down. Alfred Johnson was not arrested and has faced no charges, but yesterday's testimony offered some explanation to that. Financial accountants at AHEC, or in Hannah's, rest in peace, was in her name, or one of her daughters, Zakiya. Augustine said that the state testimony offered much more detail about how the scam operated. AHEC had recruited corrupt educators in the Compton Unified School District, 2 high school principals, and a football coach who had access to records that indicated which of their students qualified for medical coverage. AHEC paid the educators for their part in the scheme, with one of the principals getting getting coverage. AHEC paid the educators for their part in the scheme, with one of the principals getting $60,000. All three lost their jobs after being arrested in 2014. They later pled guilty to misdemeanors. AHEC HEC employees, typically RIZZA Islam, is alleged to have conducted 35 to 55-minute sessions, sometimes longer, to groups as many as 50 students. Augustine said the names of the students gathered on the sign-in sheets will then be passed on to AHEC's ghostwriters. According to the state investigators, these ghostwriters had been hired after being given creative writing tests and then operated out of Suite F at the World Literacy Crusade. Their job was to invent progress reports at $5 a page for the high school students. The students might be shown an anti-drug film, for example, but it was the job of the ghostwriters to create lengthy and bogus progress reports for each of the students, pretending that they had actually been through a whole series of drug treatments and not just sitting around watching a video. If the state ever audited the program, the Islams could show the fraudulent progress report written by the ghostwriters. The investigator gave the names of several AHEC ghostwriters whom he had interviewed. Augustine said investigator Sam Richardson went into detail about how all the defendants were involved in the fraud. Hannah and Islam, rest in power, as they proceeded over AHEC. Zakiya was a counselor and did billing. RIZZA and Namat Islam and co-defendant Bayan Beverly Washington served in various capacities as counselors and signed off on billing documents. AHEC wrote checks to the education office involved in the conspiracy. These checks and all other supporting documents were entered as exhibits. World Literacy Crusade staff were also presumed to sign up as medical recipients or be fired from their jobs. The state presented evidence, for example, that 2 staffers who had been taking no courses were used to bill medical for $14,500 and $5,000 as if they had been through the treatment. RIZZA Islam was shaking his head no during parts of the testimony by investigator Richard Augustine says. The testimony also gave some idea of how the scam was found out. AHEC excessively billed a particular medical code for intensive outpatient treatment for people with substance abuse problems. That brought the operation to the attention of Medical's Fraud Investigation Unit and ultimately to a raid of the Compton facility. The sovereign citizen arguments and the mass attempt by the defendants to fire their attorneys was just delaying tactics, and none of them worked. Augustine says it didn't stop the staggering weight of evidence from being presented and made public in open court. The day's session ended at 4:15 p.m. and Hannah, rest in peace, and RIZZA Islam were taken away in handcuffs to spend the night in jail. The preliminary hearing will resume today at 1:30 p.m. All right, so this is what took place, and this to add more content of what was going on. So the crime actually started back in 2013. All right, so again, why is this dude running around like he's pure and he's a stand-up guy? This is a criminal. And I don't think the people in Compton who he keep using as a badge of honor, like he's helping the neighborhood, when he was in Compton tricking at least 50 students and making it appear that they was needed drug classes that he was not even had no education for. He wasn't licensed for that. And they writing all these checks to these people, getting greedy, then they got caught. This is the paperwork. So I want to know, since he accordingly here he was already part of the Nation of Islam. The question is, what part of the Nation of Islam is this? Is this taught in the lessons to defraud and lie and steal and cheat? And look who he was doing it to. If the Caucasian is the devil, why y'all wasn't doing this to white people? Y'all doing this to black and Hispanic kids. The same way with Dr. York. He talked all that crap about the Caucasian, but he didn't molest nobody but his own. Not saying he should have done that in general. I'm just saying that these people, they say things and do the opposite. It's clear that this dude is a fraud and a scammer. You understand? And he's hanging out with 19 keys, hanging out with all these pictures, taking pictures with Jay-Z. Jay-Z was on Pedo Island too. That's on the list. He's on the list. You got all these people that they posing with as criminals. Farrakhan was kicking it with Snoop. Snoop is a known woman abuser. He disrespect black women. It's pictures of Snoop walking around with black women with chains around their neck. And he gave Farrakhan a couple of $1,000 to the Nation of Islam, and they friend. How you friends? You got pictures with Farrakhan with Superhead. What's really going on here? These people are criminals, and they're pretending that they're righteous. Y'all need to wake up. Oh, but this ain't the end of it. I'm coming back with a part 3 in this video, because it's clear that people who out here in the so-called conscious community, y'all not conscious, because y'all don't even know half these dudes y'all looking at as foul. But let's get on with that next part. Treat me to call the peace and wartime.
I wish you very well. The very handsome brother, too. Highly intelligent. But you've got to bring your moral standard up. Because the women are going to fall in love with you. But you can't have them all now. I don't know how Solomon made out. I don't know how long he lived either. I'm sure killing himself with the 1,000 concubines. But I'm not envious of Solomon. And you know, when you understand who a woman is and what a woman is, please, brothers, don't mess with them. Don't mess over them. They are from God, but they can be from the devil if you don't treat them right. Sisters, we're going to get into that September 16th. The sister is charging you, brother, with rape. That's a horrible charge. But to my sister, you lowered yourself. You were engaged to that man, according to what I read. And you allowed him to stay in your house. You allowed him to lay down on your bed. And he laid down beside you. What the hell is going on here? And get angry with you because you act like the savage that's just a quarter of an inch under your skin. See, you bring the nigger out of us and then act like you did nothing. If you engage don't mean come to my room, get in my bed, and I'll lay beside you, and nothing better happen. You're a damn fool. Now, when you started acting up like you wanted something, RIZZA, no, stop. See, when you get the nigger up in a man, and you were telling stop. Well, what the hell are you doing? Getting me in this condition mentally and telling me stop. You got to be a hell of a man to get that close and stop. Sisters, you need to mind yourself. You want to pull down a good man, then you got him. But I bet you he ain't gonna marry you. If you want a man, don't give him a damn thing but the greetings. And give the greeting with your eyes lowered. Our women are beautiful, man. You can't lay beside one of our women. And even the ugliest one you think is ugly, lay beside her and say, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You better come to the class, FOI class.
Ayo Ben, you're going crazy.